still 3 to come, but even though we can start. I asked you at the beginning actually one question, which is asking the following, which is what are the best tools, or what is the best tool to use for a security actually within an environment, security tool or security appliance means. The answer of this question actually it is very blue. Why? Because the question did not specify what is the environment to secure, and in terms of what actually are we going to secure the which interface we are going to secure the environment from. Means the attack surface we have to recognize in order to specify what tool to choose, first of all, in order what category of tools to choose in order to specify the capabilities and to classify them, which one is the best. Here, what does it mean? Means actually, are we going to secure against the internet access? Are we going to secure against the local network, actually use it and data flow and share resources? Are we going to secure the environment internally from malicious and let's say malicious, yes, sources and codes that run in background? Means the operating system itself, the operating system level. Are we going to secure it against the entry ports from the device, from the case itself, USBs and network and all the ports that they actually give access, or they actually that they help in building in and out flow? So here in conclusion, the answer of this question, it is not something that we can actually have its answer from one shot. Just we say that security is to the best tools for security. It has to be actually classified into groups, first of all, and the groups, they are actually based on the attack surface. Attack surface. What does mean attack surface? Because the malware that they attack the computers, usually from internet, they are not the same malware that they are actually running in your operating system background or backend. So classifying the malware first of all, then after we classify the tools for that specific category of malware, and from which we select the best. And the best here comes actually as per the rate of detection. Are they actually very accurate, detect everything, or just they actually trial applications, or they actually they are not as much, let's say, severe, and they actually can help malware escape or not? That's it. That's it. Any questions in this regard, please? Okay, great. So since nothing actually is raised up, so the definition of the security appliances in this unit we just continue from. We start with the firewall. We said that actually we started and we were here last class, but we continue from here. The firewalls in general, in abstract, it's not an abstract, but in general, an overview of the firewalls without classification. They are sort of filters that they actually do filter the in-out flow from a device and to a device, from the device to the external environment, and from the external environment to a given device. The external environment means actually a network, local network, public network like the internet or any other data source externally set. So example of a firewall implemented or set in an environment, it has to be actually set in the perimeter of the network. It does not have to be running inside the workspace. Why? Because the firewall is a filter. So the data that goes in or the data that goes out has to be filtered here, not inside. We can install a firewall at every device. Yes, there are available utilities that they play the role of filters, like the firewalls, and they are configured to run on device level. But this is not feasible because actually professional networks and big company networks, they do have, like our campus, they do have thousands of devices running. So They have to install a firewall for every device, thousands of copies. This is not feasible. This is not feasible. While the main role is to filter the inflow and the outflow. So why should we do it in every device? No, we install it at the perimeter. What does it mean perimeter? At the entry point here, not at the end, not in any other place in the network. No, at the perimeter where the data goes in and out. At that location, we install the firewall. Firewalls, they are actually hardware and software mainly, but for what it concerns the way how they behave, how to filter. What does it mean to filter the inflow or to filter the outflow? It means actually they are going to see the data sent or the data received. Is it allowed to pass or not? Is it allowed to be received or is it allowed to be sent or not? This is the meaning of filtering the in and outflow. So categories, there are two categories mainly for the way how they do filter that. The stateless packet filtering firewalls. The stateless packet filtering firewalls. They are firewalls which actually they are playing the role of filtering the in and out both of the data flow, but based on group of policies, based on the organization politics. So the politics set by the company, they are the main key how to filter the flow, the data, to allow or to deny based on the rules. So this is a stateless packet filtering firewall. Means it does not look for malware. It does not search for viruses and worms and trojans to pass in or out in order to capture them. No, it's not the concern here. The stateless packet filtering firewalls, they are firewalls that they implement the rules or the policies the organization is set. The rules of the politics the organization have set or has set, not is set. The second category, which is actually the stateful packet filtering, here actually a more technical and a more sophisticated kind of firewall, but it is causing what there is actually there are drawbacks of this category. It is more let's say technical and more efficient. Yes, you may say that. Somehow it is more efficient. It's not some. It is not a concern of better. We are not comparing, but this is another category. It works based on the filtering of packets. What does it mean? It's actually it controls the packet itself. The packet one by one itself. What does it contain? The data inside. Is it allowed to be trusted data or not? This concern of trusted here means actually it is a sort of malware capturing scenario. It will filter the data based on a group of metrics and parameters and variables and variations to say that this is a virus or this is a malware or not. The stateful packet filtering, it has characteristics which is actually to save and record, to generate a log history of what happened. What that means is actually what happened, what are the flows passing, what are the being actually being sent and received. There will be actually a copy of that. Moreover than that, the stateful packet filtering firewall, it can control the connectivities. Either the devices are enabled to connect or not even. They can even disconnect the device from the external environment. It can even disconnect the device from the network, from the source of data network. Stateful packet filtering. Firewalls actually, they do have to check the source address. They do have to check the destination address. What does mean source address, destination address? Means whenever there is a flow is passing, actually a packet is passing, the packet is coming from a source and going to a destination. So the source address is the one who sends the data, the media, the packet in question. The destination is where to the packet is going. And mainly the source address and the destination address, they are IP addresses. They are IP addresses. Because when it concerns the rule-based firewall, means the stateless packet filtering firewall. This is one of the examples of the filtering capabilities. Now, source IP address, they are not given a list of source IP addresses that they are not allowed to send or to receive. Yes. To send, so source IP address. To receive means destination IP address. This is a filtering rule. This is a filtering rule. Another filtering rule is based on the serves. It's based on the serves. Port is 80, means it is to open the web. Any web source, any HTML or HTTP running serves, it would be actually blocked, denied, or enabled, or something like that. It depends on the question, either to enable or to deny. Both, they are based on a rule, no? So to enable, to deny, it depends on the rule. Even we can enable the filtering based on time. We enable from 8 to 4, for example, and we disable after 4 until 8, and so on, or maybe vice versa. So this is a sort of a group of rules that the stateless firewall, stateless packet filtering firewall, do work on. Another, actually here we see the stateful packet filtering firewall actually still will be able to use the same, let's say, variations, the same variables, the same criterions to filter. What does it mean actually? Whenever we receive a data, a flow coming, and the firewall is working, will he not to be able to see the source address or the destination address, for example? No, absolutely, he will see the same. He will see the same. What does it mean? It means the same data would be actually seen. The same services will be actually seen also. Yet what's the difference between the stateful and the stateless filtering firewalls? Here, in this concern, the filtering capabilities, it would not have a prior knowledge of who is the sender or who is the destination, whether it is internal or external. It's not recognized. Or what are the services to control? It's not in prior recognized. No. They would come into the level of the firewall, and the firewall will read and analyze what are those variants, and based on that he will decide. The firewall will decide based on that. In the sense of if you are going to, for example, block any malware attack coming from, for example, the external, from the internet, what are the devices to control? What are the attackers' computers? Do we know them? No, absolutely no. So the firewall has to see the content from where it comes. If it is coming from the internet, then he has to make a data analysis. What is the content of the packet? Otherwise, if it is coming from the internal network, here, like in this example, no, he will let pass. He will not make a data analysis. So this is a decision to be made by the firewall. When the packet has already arrived and he can read the data inside, he will see the IP address, the source, he will see the IP address destination, and based on that he will decide whether he will read the content, the payload, or he will let pass. So this is a stateful packet filtering scenario. Whether it is concern of filtering based on the, let's say, the ID, means the IP addresses, source and destination, or based on the services, web services or download and upload services or whatever. As we said, that the firewall, they are actually they are mainly, we can say that there are firewalls as hardware and software, absolutely, but moreover than that, there are firewalls that they can be actually installed on a computer. What does it mean? Means that we can install a firewall on a device like an antivirus. Yeah, absolutely. It would help actually to enhance the security of the framework or the environment, because it would not conflict the antiviruses, because the firewall is something and the antivirus is another thing. But it can enhance security within the given environment. Yeah, as we were talking, the rules to be implemented, whether the firewall is stateless or stateful, they are based on the need. Because, for example, when you talk about the stateless firewall filtering rules, what are they? What they can be? It is based on the need of the organization. There is no standardized group of rules. Here in University of Niswa, the needs, they are something. When you go to, let's say, any petroleum company, needs would be completely different. Here in University of Niswa, we are having a mission of, let's say, educational mission. But in the petroleum companies, we do not have educational mission. We do have actually production and productivity missions. So firewalls rules here in University of Niswa, they would be actually specific to University of Niswa. So what is the concern here? The concern here is that the firewall rules, they are a question of the need of the organization. It means we are not finding a standardized rule or policy for everybody. No. Rules, no. Policies, no. It is a company policy. So full stop. So something specific and proper belongs to the company only. Yet, field of activity where to apply those rules, they are standardized. We can find them standardized. When you talk about, for example, a centered network, or let's say a star topology based network or something like that, so there will be actually a standard device which is for the major part, if the network is big enough, it's a server, and then after inside the server there is a domain controller and let's say a forest to control. So to configure the domain controller and the Active Directory in the server, to allow or to deny users from logging in, logging out. So it's the same policy. It can be found everywhere, since we are controlling the login to an Active Directory or to a domain. Full stop, conclusion here. Firewall rules, mainly when we talk about the stateless packet filtering firewall, but not only, because stateful also can be customized. They are politics and, let's say, rules literally set and imposed by the organization in question. Can they be actually standardized? They can be actually the same, but it cannot be standardized. Why? Because not everybody, not all the companies, they are using, for example, servers, computer servers, as a service provider. No, so we cannot standardize. Not everybody, they are using big number of computers to segregate and create subnets and virtual LANs and things like that. So cannot be standardized the work. So here we have to understand that it is a matter of customization based on the need of the company in question. But those are examples of policy topics to control the Active Directory, to control the source and destination IDs, to control the given protocols in plural as services. Here we can control the IP address or the services. So ports and protocols, they are as services, and so on. Connectivities also connect those three, whether it is wireless or let's say wire-based connectivities. So all of those considerations, they can enhance the construction of the rules. If you are just awarded a task to generate a list of rules, will you have to check the books for generating the rules for the given company? No. You have to see the business of the company, what is the main field of action, and based on that, you generate your list of rules here. So the rules to generate, they are not something you'll find in the books. They are not things that you are going to learn here in this class. No, but you have to see the field of activity, the field of action, production line of the company in question, and based on that, you generate your rules. The company does not allow, for example, here we take the example of University of Niswa. The company does not allow students to open the Facebook and the videos like the YouTube from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. What is this? This is a policy. The administration level of the University of Niswa has decided for the best qualitative, actually, teaching and learning process. So we will deny users from accessing the internet services, like for example the Facebook or the YouTube, from 8 to 4. This is a rule, this is a policy. From where we got it? From the book? No. This is because of the managerial department and the company has decided that. So we impose that rule. You understand? Is it clear, please?
Yes, Mr.
Great. Another utility that you find actually playing the role of enhancing the security at the network level, which is the proxy or the proxy server. If you remember very well, actually, the lab number 1 and this semester, the practical session lab number 1, we were able to visualize the effect of the blind proxy, First definition, what is a proxy in general? The proxy actually, it is a computer program that has the task to help enhance the camouflage of a given ID. What does it mean? It means the proxy will help a communication to pass without interception, to help to succeed two parties to communicate without being intercepted. Why? Because they are hidden. They are able to trick. They are not mainly hidden, but they are able to hide themselves somehow from whomever tries to intercept. Not only try to intercept, but from whomever is doing the interception. So this is the first definition to give to you what is a proxy. The behavior of the proxy, actually, let's actually just go to define what is the behavior of the proxy, and then after we'll define what is, based on that, we'll recognize what is the reverse proxy server, and the proxy server, the reverse proxy activity. This is a sort of a proxy configuration window from the Windows environment only. So a proxy actually, it is a utility to help build the camouflage actually to succeed in making two parties to communicate without being intercepted. What does it mean? Intercepted means they will be actually using a different line of communication. Somehow yes, somehow no. What does it mean? We have a company, we have a node, we have a device. This is what we see in the left, 192.146.118.20. This is the IP address of this device here. This device is trying to reach, for example, the server number 1 here, the service provider here, web server 1. This device, 192.146.118.20, is trying to receive the service from the server, web server 1. Here in the internet or in between, there is somebody that he usually blocks, he receives the requests being submitted to this web server number 1. So any trial that comes from this area, not only this device, from this area even, that tries to ask a service from this destination, there will be actually somebody here intercepting those requests and blocking them, denying them, rejecting them. So what is the solution to help those devices in this area reach the services in this web server 1? Yeah, they have to use another channel to access this server. But if all the channels in the internet, they are all like that, what should we do? So the ID has to be changed here. There have to be actually camouflage to say that a filter or any interceptor, I am not the one you want to capture. I'm something else. I'm different. How to use a proxy or proxy server that would give you as a device an alias, and this alias would be utilized to reach the web servers. What does it mean? It means the server, the proxy server will recognize what are the IDs blocked by the or captured by the interceptor, and it will give you something different, or it would help you to choose something different. So your given alias that replaces your original IP address will be seen by the interceptor here. And the interceptor will not intercept. Why? Because it's not the one he wants to capture or to stop or to block. Something different. Thus, it would pass. It would succeed to reach the destination. This is due to what? Due to the work of the proxy. It hides the ID and gives you another alias. This is the proxy server activity. The reverse proxy, which is the case in vice versa, is the second scenario. When the service comes back, the response of the request comes back. Okay, it reaches here to where the response is going. The response to where it is going. It is going to this computer, 192.146.118.254. Okay, let's go. What is this 254 here? It's not available completely. There is no computer, there is no device with this IP address. Will the response be rejected? No. The proxy will play the role of the reverse proxy. What is the reverse proxy? It will rematch back the response IP address destination, which is this 192.146.118.254, with the original IP address, which is 192.146.118.20, and this proxy will receive the response to the destination. This is the role of the reverse proxy. Any questions? Great. As we discussed the firewalls, the demilitarized zone, or the demilitarized zones, here we see something actually more in deep, which is the honeypot. This is another sort of a filtering layer that comes actually that plays the role of filtering of the flow. It is something like the demilitarized zone. It is a small network that has a group of services without security or with a very weak security. Either without security or with a very weak security. It has some services from the main services, like the main services or the web services or the storage or the printer or something like that. This is why this is actually, it has services like the original services, not the original services. This is to trick and trap, or both. Who? The hackers, the attackers, the criminals, cybersecurity, let's say, criminals, and so on. We'll come back here, but let's just have a look into a graph in order to explain it much more better. Let's come back to the demilitarized zone. Yes. The honeypot is something like this demilitarized zone. It's a network to come at the perimeter of the main, let's say, network in question. It is a demilitarized zone, yes, it might be. Or it is a zone with a very weak security, but has services like the main services. And those services, they are fake. Why? Because any attacker tries to get in here, he will be captured immediately. Because this honeypot here, honeypot, it is to trick and trap. Trick and trap what? Any trial from any external members or from any non-legitimate members. So what is the purpose of this honeypot? It is just to, let's say, to change the mind, or to just attract hackers from, in order, instead of getting into the main network, they will get into the honeypot and they will be stuck there. So in this way, they will deflect the intention or the destination of the attackers, and thus they will secure the main network. Besides of that, because of this deflection only, they would succeed in raising up a warning, an alert, before it happens, before a crime happens. Then also the role of this honeypot is to know how the attackers, when they have been trapped, how they are actually thinking and how they are acting, the techniques of attack, they would be actually recognized by this honeypot. There are categories in the honeypots, yeah, absolutely. The categories here, either they are actually production-based or research-based. When we said that the honeypots, they would help in examining the attacker's techniques, these for what? This is to ameliorate the security scenarios. This is to ameliorate the security appliances. This is to ameliorate the security detection techniques. This is a sort of research-based honeypot. Production honeypots, they are only done for tricking and trapping end users. Mainly, they are in production. They are for production, mainly only. Any questions, please?
No, thank you.
Okay, if you hear any your name, please just say yes.